Your roommate is so bad at pretending to be a human, you've started to just automatically back him up in public. Tonight he tells you how nice it is to know the only other alien in the city, and you have to break the bad news. When I first met Bill, I was just a freshman in college, sleep-deprived, highly caffeinated, and prone to some minor hallucinations. That being said, I thought very little of his almost translucent skin, and the uncanny way he never seemed to meet my eyes. When Bill first introduced himself, it was by the dilapidated old science building, where I was fruitlessly trying to pry open the abandoned vending machine in search of any cash or barely expired snacks I could find. Or very expired. Beggars can't be choosers. Bill had walked right up next to me and slammed his hand through the side of the machine to grab a bag of chips. I think I just said, "Thank you." Like I mentioned before, I wasn't very in touch with reality. Bill had grinned, and muttered something in a language I couldn't understand, but had assumed was French, and grabbed my hand tightly in his, shaking it wildly up and down. I had no real idea of what he said, but you couldn't have paid me to care. I nicknamed him Bill, opened the chips, and proceeded to eat them on the way to my next class. He followed me, of course, and I barely noticed when he suddenly replaced my previous roommate. Brian was a buzzkill anyway. It was an embarrassingly long time before I realized Bill was an alien. In my defense, I'd never met a French person before. Maybe French people were just freakishly strong, shape-shifting pasty people with a taste for rats. It took me being fully rested to notice that tentacles and horns were distinctly not human traits. When I did, it didn't change much. Bill was a good roommate, and great at getting into vending machines. Once I knew, I began to wonder how he had lasted so long on his own. Bill wasn't great with people. Stacy Milford had asked to borrow a pencil, and he'd reached into his mouth and pulled out one of his teeth instead. Thankfully I was nearby to pocket it before he could hand it over. Bill frowned. "No?" Bill asked, confused. Yes and no were some of the few words I'd managed to teach him. He could understand English just fine, but it didn't seem like the words fit right in his own mouth. "No, buddy," I patted him on the back. "People don't take their teeth out. They don't grow back." Bill nodded. Later, when we were alone in our dorm, Bill experimented with pulling out as many of his teeth as he could. I wondered if the janitors checked the garbage. I hoped not. "Phone?" Bill garbled out the word. I looked up from my homework and tossed him my cell. He liked to use the text-to-voice option. He didn't like talking himself. "I am happy to know you. Your knowledge of humanity is unparalleled. I did not know there had been previous missions, but I am so thankful to have stumbled upon you. If you are unable to return to your planet, I would be happy to help." Bill looked at me with a sincere look of gratitude. One of the many expressions I had deciphered over our time as roommates. I cringed slightly. "Look, Bill," I closed my laptop to look him in the eye, or try to at least, "this is my planet." Bill blinked slowly. "What?" "This is my planet," I tried again. "I'm human." "But," he typed, "you helped me. You saw me shift forms. Why were you not frightened?" "I probably should have been," I shrugged. "I just kinda like having you around." Bill looked distressed. He started stacking his teeth into miniature pyramids on the desk. May I stay?" "Yeah, dude," I gave him a thumbs up. "As long as you need."